Hi, good afternoon. This is my cousin Kristen, and we're trying to get ourselves composed because anything that we do, we have a lot of laughter. I mean, we could, like, I'm crying before we even start this interview.
But I think that's why we have such a deep bond and we love each other.
Right.
Because we can appreciate each other's humor. Nobody else thinks it's funny.
I hope so.
No, I don't think anybody else thinks it's funny.
Well, we want to say hello. I was supposed to do Sochi Saturday Devotion, and I got up a little late, and I did not have the opportunity to do that. We were going to actually do the interview before Jude's football game.
And I got up late, too.
And, well, you got up earlier than I did. But thank you so much for for getting up early. But I want to share my cousin Kristen with you, with Facebook World, with the remarkable community, because she is one of the most special people, one of the dearest people, one of my best friends that I've had. Aww. We've known each other, 38 years?
Yeah.
Are you 38 or something?
I'm going to be 38.
Okay, so
thank you,
37 years.
Yeah, Grace. My Grace. I'm trying to hide them.
But I just want to say thank you personally and publicly, because this is my cousin. She's coming all the way from Miami. And she has been a great support to me and to the Remarkable Ministry. And this is going to be the end of our Remarkable Leadership interviews.
Last but not least.
Yes. And I just want to say thank you guys for watching. And we're going to get right into this interview. So Kristen, so as we start this interview, I just want them, the community, Facebook World, because again, you're not on Facebook a lot.
Not really.
Just a little bit.
I'm like kind of like I feel like a troller because I care and I want to make sure everybody's okay, but sometimes I know my weakness is to like go on there and stay on there and not do stuff that I need to do. So I just, okay, everybody's okay. I love you, like you, and then please don't take that. I mean, personally, sometimes I miss stuff even, you know? But it's just that I know I have to get off.
Yes.
But I love it. I wish I was better at posting because it's like kind of like a memory book.
It is.
You know, so I love to see other people's stuff. I really do.
Well, since you don't post a lot, so this is an opportunity for people to get to know you
a
little bit more.
A little bit more.
So tell us a little bit about Kristen Barones Galvez.
She's like, only Kristen Barones.
No, Kristen, that's what my dad.
When I'm in trouble, that's what Eddie calls me. Kristen Barones.
So tell us a little bit about Kristen.
I love to laugh.
Right.
I am very silly. I think I was a late bloomer.
Right.
I think and I was a middle child. So middle children, you can understand that. And so I think laughter got me through a lot. Like it's like making fun of myself and making fun of other people. That's how I bond with people. I think just through laughing, having fun. And you know, I've learned too from it, like can't always joke about stuff, and you know, like you have to watch what you say. That's something I'm still learning and working on. But that's one of the things about me. I love my family with like a deep, there is just like, oh my gosh, I feel like, wow, this must be the way God loves me, because I just love, I love you guys, my extended family so much. I love my parents, my brother, my sister, we're super close. And, you know, I just love family. I just love it. I think it's so important. Besides the family of God, my family comes first. You know? So that's I feel like laughing and my family, and just, I love nature. That's how I respond. I think it puts me in an attitude of gratefulness and just in awe and wonder of who God is. So I love that. I don't necessarily like to want to go camping. I want to go home and after a couple hours and rinse off, but I love to like just look at something beautiful, like a tree or a flower or a bird. Like, I'm a nerd like that.
And then that way. Then you praise God.
And then I just be like, thank you, Jesus, for like letting me see that, because I know that you made it. You're above all things, and you care so much to make those things beautiful and provide for them. Then how much more will you provide for me? You know, so that's really a thing.
So tell me, I know like that's a good start, but tell us. I love that you love family, because that's the most important thing besides your personal relationship with Jesus. What about, are you married? Do you have kids?
Okay, I am married. I'm going to be married. It'll be this year 17 years. So we got married really young. So we're like, we were high school sweethearts, but not at the same high school. So we've grown together. We've made mistakes together. We've learned together. But I don't regret a minute of it, because it's made us who we are. We're solid. We love each other, and we're not perfect by any means. We're still working on it. But so I've been married for, it's going to be next month, 17 years. We have 2 beautiful twin daughters. They're 12. They'll be 13 next month too. So there's like a lot of things happening in the fall. The fall is always like Eddie goes broke in the fall. It's my anniversary, the girls' birthdays. Like it's just a wonderful. My birthday's in the fall. It's just a wonderful time of year for us. I always love it. And and I also have Matthew, my son. He just turned 5, and he's like he's the icing on the cake, and we're done. Thank you, Jesus. He is a joy. He brings so much laughter to our home. He's sharp and witty like his dad. And I love that about him. And he's taught me a lot about patience and kindness, and I'm still learning. But I see it. I'm learning to be a boy mom because I didn't know what that was. So I'm just like, what are you bringing me? Like lizards. I hate lizards. You know? But
and he loves to go lizard
hunting. He's a little hunter. Yeah, but I'm learning to love it because he loves it.
Yes. Now, you are a wife of a police officer or detective.
Yes.
So right there, that's a special calling on your life. You know, I think that people think, oh, well, you know, she's just a wife, but that takes a calling because every night you are just praying for him and interceding for him and his company, or what is that what they call him? His squad, yeah. Because it is very dangerous, and so that there's a special place in your heart for police officers.
Yes, of course. You know? And it's funny, Soji, because to hear you say that, it feels like, I mean, not in a rude way, but it feels like overkill because we don't see it that way. My husband doesn't even like anyone really to know. Like, he's like what I think true heroes are. They don't ask for any accolades, any like attention. They just do their job, and he tries to do it to the best of his ability. And it's what God has called him to do. As much as I wish it would be different sometimes, I mean, we have just learned to go with it. We adjust and we adapt, and that's something that has been hard for me because I wasn't a person that loves change. But sometimes we do. Every couple of months his schedule can change, but God has put me, allowed me to be home at this time in this season of my life, and so I think it's allowed us to be able to like just adapt really well to. Okay, well, on these days we're with Dad, you know, it's just God is faithful, and He's been even faithful in that, and bringing Eddie home every night is His faithfulness, you know, and just protecting him. But I pray and I let it go. I can't worry about it. Then I wouldn't be able to sleep at night and do what I need to do. But that's also God. His goodness.
That's
to
so
me,
good, Kristen.
You know.
Oh man, that's something that that is something that we can all learn from, because sometimes we just hold on to that fear. You know. So as we go into the interview, are you going to school, or what do you do? Because we know, like, as a wife and a mom, that's a full-time job. But do you have a job that's outside the home, or what do you do that's outside the home?
I don't have a paying job outside the home. I consider what I do a 24/7 job, and it's not to toot my own horn. It's not to tap myself on the back. I just feel actually in this season right now, I feel like so privileged and honored for this to almost be. You know, we heard a little message about this. It's my ministry right now. And so I'm going to do all things as unto the Lord. And I'm trying. I'm not perfect. We have our bad days. The day before Remarkable, which was a Friday, you know, the day before we got here, Thursday, I was kind of getting stressed because I thought, oh, I'm going to pack in 5 minutes and it'll be fine. But I waited a little too long and I procrastinated, and then I was like stressing. So I was like putting pressure on the kids and yelling, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like help with the women's ministry and like, you know, support people. But at the same time, we're human, and God knows that. And so I just said, okay, God, I'm sorry, I messed up, and we moved on. And that's part of it that I'm learning to let go, because I'm accepting. I think it's through accepting God's grace upon my life and His love for me, and that I don't have to be so critical of myself. And so that's, oh my gosh, Sochi, like, it's freed me so much. You don't understand, like, the freedom that I feel, because I think fear and worry and self-criticism and doubt had really held me back. You know, to all that God had for me. So,
you know, I think you shared with me yesterday about how you were, you know, maybe getting onto your kiddos. You were in a rush because of your procrastination. And what's a beautiful thing that you acknowledge is that, you know, you said, I said, I'm sorry. I said, you know, girls, I'm sorry for getting onto you. And as parents, we don't like to acknowledge that we're wrong.
It's hard.
And for you to be like, you know what, daughter, I'm really sorry for doing that. That was on me. And I wish that we would do that more often. But we don't want to admit that we're wrong.
Yeah, it's hard.
And that meant a lot to your daughter. You're teaching her to acknowledge your wrongs, even as an adult, you know?
Yeah. I think the reason, and I'm not embarrassed to say
right.
it, I have been through highs and lows. I've made horrible choices
right.
In my youth and growing up, even into like adulthood. Like I said, I was a late bloomer. I really believe that. But everyone has a story, and that's just like God had a path for me. I made my own choices, but I came back to Him. And I think through those experiences, I mean, I had to seek the help of a counselor.
Right.
Wise, godly women around me, like you and other women that are just like walking beside me and encouraging me. And so I think at this point in my life, I said, if I have to be aware, self-aware of my own
That's good.
weaknesses.
Yeah. Right.
Because the issue is that it's not, I used to say, oh, I want to be better for my daughters. I just want to be a good example for them. But really, Sochi, like, I need to be better for myself because it honors God.
Yes, that's good.
And I'm not just saying this to sound like all churchy. I really am not. I am saying it because this is what I'm going through right now. I'm receiving that, like, unbelievable. What is that song by Torrin Wells known? That ridiculous grace. It's ridiculous that I could fall so flat on my face, and God's like, I love you, Kristen.
Right.
I got you. It's okay. Right. And so, but in accepting that, which is where the freedom lies. And so, I'm sorry to go back.
No, that's good.
Is that I had to learn to say, I've got to be better for myself and for the Lord, so I can walk in what He has. Right. But also, if I want my daughters to be better than myself, so that they can serve Him and not have to go through so much junk, really. I have to be humble. And it's hard, Sochi. But my counselor's like, the best thing you could do when you mess up, because I'll be like, oh, I messed up again, you know? And she's like, the best thing you can do is say you're sorry.
Oh, man.
And just learn to say you're sorry. And I'm learning. I'm not perfect. But it has really freed up. I think, like, it even has... My daughters, I think, are like understanding, like, wow, mom's just being real. Because as much as I try to hide, I'm okay, I'm not mad, whatever. And they're like, come on, mom, you know, like they know you like the back of your own hand. And so there's no point in being dishonest. It's just honesty, and that's where I think freedom is too, right? And being honest.
I love that you mentioned. A lot of people won't mention this. That you see a counselor. And I'm assuming it's a Christian counselor.
I see a Christian counselor. And I've seen several kinds of counselors. But,
and there's great therapists and counselors and psychologists and, all kinds of medical help out there because this is a real problem. The mental health and wellness. And we need to get not only, we don't only need to get right in the gym.
Oh my gosh!
Emotionally
your
right.
Soul, your mind.
And for you to say that, some people are embarrassed that they see a counselor.
Yeah.
So for you to say that, like a strong Christian woman that you are, you're like, hey, I no holds bar. I see a counselor.
Yeah.
Because I need it.
Yeah.
Not only for my kids, so like you said, so that my girls can see that the example. But for my own,
for myself,
yes,
it's really something that God has even recently. Like I went to a mom's retreat because I homeschool my daughters, and I was already It's just beautiful, isn't it amazing? Like when you stop to think like after the fact, when you're kind of coming out of something or God's showing you and teaching you something, how you can just see the pieces, and how He sent you this song or this friend texted you this verse, and it pierced your heart, or like and it's not necessarily what your friend said. It's that your friend maybe obeyed God, and you needed to hear it at that time, because I'm learning too, like the sovereignty of God. It's in His time, and I think that was something else that I had to learn. Like it's not in when I want it to be, because I'm a helper. I'm a natural helper. I love to give advice, and even when people didn't ask me for it, that's gotten me into trouble, because I've learned too, and that I'm still learning. We we're still learning that sometimes people, if they don't ask you for help, but maybe you don't need to help them in that moment. Because they need to go through what they're going to go through. But God is sovereign.
Amen.
Like I had to learn, take your hand off of God's hand and let God's hand move. Don't try to put my hand on top and move it wherever I thought. That has gotten me in so much trouble. So it's embarrassing. Like how much, because I'm just like, oh my gosh.
How many times do we do that?
I just want to help, and it's like, I'm overdoing it.
Gosh, what a good analogy of us putting our hand.
I stole that. I know, but from still, Stephen Furtick. I will say it because he's amazing. Oh my gosh, he blesses my life.
Oh my goodness. So there's so many great pastors out there. And there's
resources.
No reason that we shouldn't be getting in the Word every day. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the questions as we wrap the remarkable interviews up today. When did you see a specific point in your life where God has made a mark on your life? Now, it could be this year, it could be when you were 17, it could be in 25, but just tell me one point, because there, along the way, we see His marks.
Yes. Oh man, it's so difficult to pick one.
Right.
I'll say like the most recent one. I would say would be a couple of years ago when I decided not to go back to work.
Right.
And I really felt like God was like,
so good.
Sink or swim, you're going to homeschool. And I was like, whoa, I'm not qualified for this, even though I have a teaching background. Like, it's different to teach your own kids.
Right.
And I was so scared, but like I knew it was God calling because my husband was supportive. He was in agreement. He said, let's do this. Let's try it. I believe in you. And which is so important.
Wow.
And I don't think God's going to ask you to do something if you're married. If you have a union, like He's not going to ask you to do something that your husband doesn't agree with.
That's right.
That is something I've learned too. And so He was in total support. And so I think He marked my life because in that time, it was like, Kristen, you're going to homeschool your kids. But He totally, the first year, which was like this is our third year, He schooled me first year. He took like this Band-Aid that was in my heart. He was like, and I was just like raw. I was like everything that was like in my face because I was having to have this constant relationship and like, with my girls, and I was like, wow, I do this and I do that and I don't like this and your children are a reflection of you. So I would hear them saying certain things or talking even about themselves in certain ways, and I was like, dear God. And that's when I think the whole, like, Jesus is so great. This is when I think it came back around to like, you need to work on you. That's why I say He schooled me. He was like, Kristen, you've known me long enough.
That's right.
Get real. And I think like I needed to be honest with myself, accepting who I was, but I'm nobody without God.
Right.
Anything good is
so
just
good.
Jesus.
Right.
Anything good.
Amen. You mentioned that your girls started repeating stuff that you said. And I want to say this, that our kids are always listening. Even if they're not in the same room, so we've got to, and it's hard because, they're around us all the time.
My kids have satellite ears.
Yeah.
They know, like, when we start talking lower or, like, hold on, let me go to the other room, they, like, follow you. Like, they're...
So it's so important what we say about... Absolutely. And what we say about ourselves. And like you said, because they start repeating that. Thank you for sharing that. And I told you this last night, that one thing that popped out, it always continues to pop out, when I asked Kristen, like, what really put you over the edge to homeschool? And I'll repeat this phrase. You said, you went to a homeschool conference, and the one of the speakers said, I'm preparing them for heaven.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was like, and when you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, Stephen, we got to homeschool outlet too. But I think it's so important that that it's something that God's called you to do, and that mainly first, and then that your husband or your spouse is in agreement with that, because exactly what you said, God's not going to call you to something that your spouse is in disagreement with.
And He's not going to call you for something that He's not prepared you for, or is going to give you the tools for. So now I feel like I kind of got a little more confidence, because I'm like, you know what? I don't have it all, but God does, and He's got my back, and I know He called me to this. So I think that you have to remind yourself too, Sochi, like, in your goals and what you feel, the dreams that God's put in your heart or the vision, that you've got it somewhere in your mind or in your heart. But I'm like a very visual person. I need to write it down to say, why am I doing this? So that when you have those horrible days where you fall off, or you have where I yelled at the kids,
so good.
You can go back to it, and I have it in my little journal that says, I'm homeschooling my kids because I want them to know Jesus, to be prepared for heaven, and I want to educate them. But I want them to be prepared. Like, that is our number one responsibility. Besides letting them have a secure home and love, it's like, look, so and my daughter. It doesn't mean that my daughters are like 100% on fire. Like they've asked Jesus in their heart, thank you, Jesus. But they're going to find their own personal relationship with him, and I have to be patient.
Right.
I can't push it on them, but I can show them the way by being a better version of myself through Jesus.
Right.
And that's why I think it's full circle for me, you know?
That right there is so good, because I think like we need to accept that not everybody's going to be a homeschool mom.
Oh my gosh, you know,
but we still have that responsibility.
Remember, we have the response. Like, oh man, I wish I had it open, but I even sent it to Eddie. I was reading the other day. What verse is it where it says, "Children, obey your parents"?
Oh yeah.
Where is that? So I can't remember right now where it is. I'm having like a brain fart right now, but. It says, "Children, obey your parents and Lord, because then it will go well with you," right? Okay, here I found it. It says, "Children, do what your parents tell you. This is only right. Honor your father and mother. It is the first commandment that has a promise attached to it, namely, so you will live well and have a long life. But here's the commandment for parents.
Right.
Fathers." This is the Message version.
Right.
I love to read different versions because the different word kind of helps you.
Right.
Don't exasperate.
Right.
Your children by coming down on them hard.
Wow.
Take them by the hand and lead them in the way of the master. And that's Ephesians 6.
Right.
And I texted Ephesians 6, and I texted Eddie. I was like, that little like,
yes.
And I'm like, this is so me. Like, oh my gosh. You know, at night when you lay down and you're like finishing the day and you're like thinking back on your day. And I would be like, how many times have I said, I was too harsh.
Right.
I didn't use gentleness. My words weren't loving. Sochi, that is something that I'm going to be 100% transparent. God is working on me right now with that. He's asked me, He's shown me, you need to be gentle with your words. Right. And I'm very rough. I'm very like, excitable and passionate, but I need to learn to be gentle with my kids. I need to learn to be kind. And I feel like I'm a kind person, but I can see it when I've done it, when I've overdone it, and when I have exasperated my children.
Wow.
So yeah, they're called to obey, but I'm called to take them by the hand and lead them, not come down at them so that they're like, I'm done, Mom, or they shut down. So that's a call to everyone. So we're going back to, why doesn't everybody homeschool? Well, not everyone's called, and that's okay. There's awesome magnet schools, there's awesome regular schools, private schools, talented teachers, but our calling as parents, that's for everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
that's so good. So, Kristen, what has been a situation when you have seen God move in your life?
Oh, man. I mean, I would go back to this. I've seen him moving just so mightily. Good. Like, I was telling you and other friends and our other cousin that we're super close to, that, I mean, what a blessing it is to have you girls. Mm-hmm. It's like, you may not like me some days, but we're family. Too bad.
Yes,
but that I'm going through that season right now where God's really saying, showing me and cutting out things, and it hurts to face them. And especially the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, grace, gentleness, self-control. So that we need to walk in the Spirit at all times, not sometimes.
That's right. Oh, that's good.
And it's hard, because what's the other option? My pastor's been talking about this. The other option is walking in the flesh. And where does that get us? It always leads to failures, destruction. And so he's really dealing with me, and specifically in the areas of just gentleness. My words, like, what are your words lifting up? Are your words encouraging? Because we can't ask anybody to change if we are coming down. I mean, so that's where I am right now. That's something good, that he's speaking and working on me.
And I think you answered this, but maybe you can elaborate. What are you doing right now through the work of the Holy Spirit that you are able to make your mark?
I think it goes back to, because it's such a prevalent part of my life right now.
Right now, you're going through it,
And I hate to sound like I do other things, and I'm learning too. Jesus, or the Lord has been talking to me about self-care. Taking care of myself, because it's easy to get caught up in your children. It's easy to put them first. But really, we know it's God, husband, your children, church. And so I'm kind of trying to restructure and make the right moves, and gently, I'm preparing the girls to go, basically. In 5 years, they could be out of my care. And so I'm preparing them to leave the house, hopefully loving Jesus, serving him, and to be responsible adults. And so I think that what I'm trying to do through the work of the Holy Spirit is be the best mom I can be, the best wife I can be, because my husband he needs my support, and I need his. But my part of it, my ministry is at home to make sure that we have all that we need, that he gets rest, that my kids get taught, that you know, that I make time for myself, so that I can like it's an analogy of like I gotta fill my cup, so that I can give, you know. And so I think after for a while I was running on empty, and I was doing nobody any good. But you know, it's hard to be like, I don't know, I would have major, like, mom guilt. I'll be honest. Like, I would have mom guilt. And so, and that's not a good thing, because that's not of God.
Absolutely.
It's okay to go and have, like, a day off, or half a day off, or a couple hours, or, like, why do I have to feel guilty about getting my nails done and enjoying some peace while I listen to a message or something, you know? Like, or even, like, the other day, like, I know God spoke to me, like, I wasn't feeling great. I'm like, just physically, and I was like, what can I do? Just small little steps. See, so that's what I'm learning too. I think sometimes I want to skip, like, here's A and it's not that good, and here's C, like where you're finished and perfected. I want to skip right to C, but where do we find God?
That's right.
In the process, in the middle. But it's little steps. It's not like A to C, and I'm like that. I'm like, I'm bad. I know it, and I want to be better. So this is what I'm doing. But then you run out of steam. So you gotta step by step, right? And so, like, my first step was, why do I feel bad? Well, I feel bad because I'm not eating lunch. So by 4 o'clock, I'm low on energy. I'm hangry. I get hangry. I'm cranky. I'm eating, like, everything in sight just to get me through till dinner. And I'm not having patience with my kids. So I know, like, I know this sounds ridiculous, but God cares about every detail in your life. And he spoke to me. He's like, you need to sit down and eat lunch. And my thing was, I'll feed them lunch. They're busy. And then I'll go and do some laundry, vacuum over here, clean the toilets or whatever. Because that's important too. We need to take care of our homes.
I know.
And have order. But at the same time, it's like, take 20 minutes. And sit down and eat and enjoy the time with your kids and eat some Cheetos and a turkey sandwich and just feel better. And let me tell you, wow, it has really helped me. But it's simple.
It's simple stuff.
But I make it dramatic.
Or spiritual. We spiritualize
it.
And you know, one of my friends used to say, she's got like, I think 5 kids, but before she had 5 kids, she only had 2. She said, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My job is to take care of my kids and my husband. What I do is I give myself a 15-minute break in the morning. I give myself a lunch break, and I give myself an afternoon break.
That's awesome.
Because I know that I need it. And I know that I am so like you. Like, I'm like, okay, I'll feed Evelyn. You know, that way I can do something. But I mean, it's something so simple, because then we're thinking, well, we can always just wait till dinner. But what good is that if we're not doing our physical good?
Because we're kind of hurting ourselves. But that's another thing that's super important to me. Like, and I'll be completely transparent too. My mornings, like, I purposely wake, like, I don't want to wake up at 6:30, but I have this thing where I just wake up, I can't sleep, and so instead of, like, you know, just the temptation is to, like, watch something or, you know, go on Facebook, and I have, but I think God's showing me that, that I really need to take that time where it's quiet,
everybody's asleep.
It's peaceful, read the word, and it gets me ready for battle that day, whatever is going to come at me. And I just feel like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I hear the Lord speaking to me, and I'll listen to a worship song or something that's really like someone sends me a message and I'm so excited to hear it, and I know I have like a cup of coffee in 30 minutes or even an hour. Like, it's such a blessing, because it just starts the day on such a different note. And so that's been really awesome.
And it's like, even with doing that, that's like kind of like a discipline. You know, like, the first week you might be like, oh, I'm dragging, I'm not really getting anything. But when you make it a routine, you know, it just becomes a habit. Because I know, like, sometimes, like, when I get used to sleeping in, and then I do make that effort, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even, but, you know, just make that a discipline. So, okay, so I love that you said that you, you know, get up early, maybe listen to a song or a message. What's a specific Bible verse that you turn to? Maybe one of your special Bible verses in this season of your life, or just a favorite Bible story?
I think right now, like, I can't really hone in specifically, but I started doing with Proverbs 31. I started doing the Psalms study, and wow, what a blessing! Good. Because first of all, I admire David. He was a man after God's own heart. But Sochi, if anybody showed his humanness,
absolutely,
his sinfulness, it's David. But you can see how he always took it to praise, acknowledging that God was the master of the universe, of the maker of heaven and earth, like just worship.
Right.
And I feel like God has led me to Psalms because he's putting like a new song.
Yes.
He's putting just that word in my heart. And it's just so descriptive.
Right.
And it's a lot about nature.
Yeah,
he describes mountains and oceans.
Because he was outside a lot.
He was always out, you know, he's outside. And so that's something that's really been, right now, just the Psalms of like, you know, also too, like, one that stands out is like, we remain confident in Christ, knowing that all things will work together, you know, like, if I trust in him, you know, so, but for the good, that those who love him, so the Psalms has really been something right now that's like on current, on replay.
That's one right now.
Yes.
So as we look at David, you know, I love to study David, you know, and I feel like there's like a lot of studies about David right now, you know, like I just got done doing one, the Goliath study. Who did that? My mind just went blank.
What is it, Goliath Must Fall or something?
Yeah, Goliath Must Fall. It was really good.
And
I did a Beth Moore devotion of David.
Oh, wow.
But, you know, as I look at different people in the Bible, but I want you to tell me, who is a role model or a mentor that has been in your life that has shaped you into the woman that you are today? And there might be more than one. You know?
I mean, I feel like there's so many along the way. I know that people, like teachers that I had when I was in private school, because they were allowed to talk about the Lord. And
that's good.
Those teachers from when I was really a young girl, I think that children's pastors that allowed me to serve as a young woman showed me like how to serve, but that it was a blessing to me. Like I learned from like children's, you know, lessons like all the time, and I was like, oh wow, like I still needed that. But allowing me to grow and know, and but then I think like along the way too, my mentors have been like a really wonderful pastor, and I don't talk to him all the time. We have busy lives and we don't live far away, but I think I was about 22 years old, and I had gone through a really rough season. And this pastor and his family and my small group that was in a small group with him, they came alongside of me. They walked with me, and they really showed me what real, true church and what community meant. Because as much as I had made mistakes and gone really far, I mean, it was like there was no shame, there was no judgment, no condemnation. It was just like, we love you, we want God's best for you, we forgive you, or, you know, no matter what. And they walked with me, and I think like that I can never forget, I can never repay. And I've told him, my pastor, this, you know, just thank you, because you don't know how much that meant to me to see that the real love and the real community acceptance, no matter what. And so I think that was one of the first times like I was like, this is what church is. This is, it's not the building. It's the church, your community of people that say, we want to do life with you. You know? And so that church was a real mentor for me. And I think now too, like my sister, I really admire her, my older sister. My parents, my dad is like one of the most, like, I mean, his work ethic is ridiculous. He can't sit still. He's always working. And he's not a young buck anymore, you know, no spring chicken. My mom, just through her quiet strength, she's been through a lot, but never, ever doubted God's faithfulness, that he would rescue her, that was going to heal. Cancer survivor, never gave up hope. Not that it wasn't hard. Not that she didn't cry out and say, God, why, and hurt, and take it away, but she never gave up. And I mean, wow, what an example, you know. So they've really,
you know, like too with your mom, like, you know, she's my aunt, and one thing that, you know, reminds me of the woman that we talked about yesterday, Mary, the woman that worshiped Jesus, is that Mary stayed quiet, and that's, you know, your mom. You know, a lot of times, you know, she's got pretty strong beliefs. And you know, and people might say something about her, but she just stays quiet, and it's that humble and quiet spirit but also that the strength Lord, and
confidence, I really don't need to respond.
I don't have to justify it, you know, and like we're times where we're seeing like I gotta convince that I'm not who they think I am, but you know that's been an example for you.
It is. I mean, and I would love to strive to be like that, because like I said, I'm like, oh no, keep my mouth closed, you know, but I mean, I've definitely learned. I think I've gotten a lot better. Like, kind of waiting, thinking about what I'm going to say before I, kind of react. I mean, I'm not perfect. I did it the other day.
Right.
I just, what is that? Like, vomited out of my mouth. Like, just gross, But, yes. So they're huge.
But we all do that.
Yeah, we do. And, there's some people, but mainly those people are, like, for sure that I'm like, oh, my gosh, just thank
Lord for those people.
Yes.
So, as Kristen, like, when I think of Kristen, I think of someone that's very charismatic, very fun to be around. I always say that she could be the next Kelly Ripa,
oh, gosh,
or the girl Jimmy Fallon. She's just a people person, and but what does Kristen like to do? For fun.
I love hanging out with people.
Right.
I love people.
Right.
I love people watching.
Yes, yeah.
Like, oh man, that's gotten me in trouble before because I'm like, oh my gosh, stop staring.
Yes.
Yeah, my kids do it, and I'm like, stop staring. Because I'm like, they're gonna be stares. I love people watching. I love being around people. I could talk to anybody.
Right. Yes.
Like just having a conversation.
Yes.
Again, the
laughter.
Relationships.
Right.
Like friendships. I love that. But even if it's a stranger, I just love learning about people and. I love music.
Right.
I wish I could dance. In my heart, I'm like this ballerina, graceful. Not any of it, nothing. But you know what? Like, I love to worship God.
Right.
But I love music, any type of music.
Right.
Country, rap, anything. I love eating ice cream.
Right.
Ben and Jerry's.
Really,
New York,
flavor?
New York Super Chunk.
Is it
Lord.
good?
They're basically a frozen candy bar.
Oh, wow.
It's delicious.
Okay, I mean, try it.
It's horrible.
Yes.
Like, I have like a nutritionist coming to see me. I'm like, oh god,
goodness.
It's so boring.
But you have to eat it before she gets
I'm gonna
there.
eat it
right?
before she
gets
No, so what else do I love? I love my kids and like watching. I just love laughing, living life, and enjoying.
Do you love to? When you get a chance, I know that we talk about this a lot. Like, we'll watch a TV show.
Oh, I love. Okay, let me see. What am I
asleep,
watching? Ooh, I love This Is Us, which
yes.
is coming on soon. That is
like,
such a good real show.
22nd or something?
I don't know, but
not this week, but the next week.
Is it?
Yeah.
You see, I've been watching TV. Oh my gosh. Okay, and I love like my favorite kind of movies like Sense and Sensibility,
right? And
like Jane Austen movie. Any of those like period movies. I love that stuff, like romantic stuff.
So could you imagine yourself in that type of period?
Yes, but did they have Ben and Jerry?
Maybe you would be the one to invent that one.
Maybe,
Oh, but
I
always
don't think I'd fit in the corset. I mean, like scratching. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh my goodness! I always
too hot, so no AC and all that clothes.
But you like that period.
I love it.
But I always tell Steven that I would have loved to be in the 50s era.
I love that era too.
Yeah,
like I love
the poodle
the
skirts
Titans
and the
or like what are those movies that oh my gosh I'm trying to think of like that period, but I love that too.
And it's
the music. I love Motown.
Music. That's
I love
the music.
Motown music.
So you love Motown.
I love Motown.
So. Okay.
You better respect me.
So what are some goals that you have as we're going into October? We're almost done. We're the 9th month. But what are some goals that you've had that maybe you haven't reached yet or that you have reached in 2018?
Oh, gosh. Discipline. That was a goal for me. And I didn't make it very, like, super specific because I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm not going to make it. And I didn't want to, like...
That's so funny.
I didn't want to be like, I'm going to fail, so I'm not going to make a thing. But I said, Lord, help me with my contentment.
Right.
To be content.
Right.
And help me to be disciplined. And gosh darn it, would you know that, like... Without even realizing it, sometimes God answers your prayers, and you forget. Like that's why it's good to journal. I'm trying to be better about it, disciplined about it.
That's so good.
Because you can go back and just see God's faithfulness and where He answered, and you're like, gosh, I don't even think I even got a chance to pray that, and God's already answering the desire of my heart.
Right.
And so slowly but surely, He's been putting people in my life that are helping me, give me wisdom about discipline.
That's so good. So that's a goal.
That was a goal, and I like discipline, like mostly like in the Word.
Right.
Really, that was something important to me. Yeah.
It's like I said last night. Like it's something that we should want to pick up the Bible for ourselves.
Yes.
We shouldn't just want people pouring to us, but us getting poured into the Bible and the Word, because God's got something that's very personal for each one of us through the Word.
Every time you read it, it could be different. Different seasons in your life. You're like,
different seasons.
I never noticed that verse like that.
Yes, like the verse that you read.
Yeah.
So that is so good. Now, as we end this this interview, I want you to share that special story that you shared with us the other day about Matthew.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that sometimes people will think, oh, well, that might have happened to me, and that was a big deal to me, but might not be a big deal to other people. But I think it is. You know, I think that when you share this, it'll prick people's heart. So let me hear it.
Well, I decided that last year we took the girls for their eye exam. You know, I'm trying to be better at preventive care, not just when something's wrong.
Right.
We know with the eyes and in your dental or whatever. And so we have the insurance. I'm like, we need to use it. So we went last year, and we all got exams except for Matthew. He was with us because our doctor that we love, our optometrist, said, I don't really do little ones, but get him an appointment with a pediatric optometrist. I'm like, okay, well, a year went by.
Yeah.
And it's recommended 3 to 5. So I said, you know what? We're going to start school, and I'm going to need him to sit. Let's just make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
And so I made him an appointment, and as we were talking about it at the dinner table, Matthew was like, oh, I don't want to go, because I guess he hears doctors and he gets shocked.
Right.
And so he was kind of hesitant. He said he didn't want to go, and I said, well, let me just pull up a YouTube video, because everything is on YouTube.
Right, yes.
You know? And so I said, let me pull up a YouTube video on a children's exam. So I pulled it up, and the first one looked really good. I clicked on it, and it was a really awesome doctor.
Right.
She's like one of those doctors that you're like, she makes everything fun. The kids don't even know.
Like Patch Adams.
Exactly, Patch Adams.
Yes.
Perfect. And so I said, oh, man, that would be awesome if she was in Miami. I'm like, I showed Matthew. I'm like, look, they're going to show you shapes, and, it's going to be fun. And so I said, that would be awesome if she was in Miami. So when I Googled it and I looked, she was in Miami.
Wow.
Not that close.
Right.
But close enough. On the expressway, 20 minutes. No big deal.
Wow.
Once a year,
Right.
And so I had also noticed, too, that a little kind of you had that mom sense.
Right.
He had missed a step in the house a couple of times already, and it's like, is he just excited and running, or is something going on? It just kind of, you kind of perk your ear up a little, And so I thought, well, I'll just mention that too. And so, I mean, I have the blessing of being with him all the time, so, you could catch that.
Yes.
But most moms do anyways. You know your children.
Absolutely.
And don't let any doctors tell you sometimes that they know more.
Yes.
They do know more. God's given them wisdom. God has given them the discipline to be doctors and study, but you know your kid too. Right. So work with them, not just whatever they say.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so the day came, we went, and the lady did the first little exam, and I knew right away something wasn't right, because she said, now, why'd you come? Did the doctor recommend, refer you? And I was like, no, I mean, we just wanted to come for wellness check, and first time, but I said, but he did, kind of misstep. She goes, okay. So obviously there was something in the results. Right. So we go into the exam room with the doctor. She's amazing, super sweet, awesome with the kids, creative. Just had everything. I mean, it just brought me such peace. Right. Because at that point, I'm like, okay, I have no idea what it is, but I know something's not. Maybe he just needs glasses. Yes. He needs glasses or whatever. So we get in there, and the doctor's doing the exams, and I could see at one point Matthew kind of starts struggling. Right. He's in those little lens part, and he's kind of cheating, trying to put his other eye, and he's like, and I could see his frustration. Right. And she's like, I could see her, and just making her mental notes and kind of doing something on the computer. And she's like, Mom, I'm glad that you came. Wow. Because it was a good thing that you listened to, yourself. She goes, your I guess your primary physician, did they recommend you? And I said, or refer you? And I said, no. Right. She goes, well, then you did a good job, because your son has a lazy eye. And I think it's amblyphobia or something like that. Right. The medical term, but basically the layman's term is lazy eye. Right. And so, to make the long story short, my son pretty much can't see from his left eye. Wow. What happens is, because the brain is such a wonderful muscle, and it's just the body is intelligent design. Jesus created God, God. And so his left eye is basically shut down, and his right eye took over.
Doing all the work.
She's like, it's good you're here. And I was just like, oh, Sochi. Right. Automatically what did I do wrong?
Because anything is when it's
anything with your babies.
Yeah, you're like.
And I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, did I let him use the phone too much? Right. Should I have come earlier? And she's like, Mom, there was nothing you could do. This happened when he was a baby developing. It's just some genetic. It could be, you know, it's okay.
Right.
And then so through talking to her, just this peace came over me. And she reassured me, like, she's like, listen, we're gonna get the glasses.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I feel this. I did this.
Right.
She's like,
because it's like when the kids come in the picture,
it
becomes like
so tender.
we just give it to us. Give me that symptom or
and
whatever.
Like,
that diagnosis.
You want to take it. Exactly. And then you're like, what did I do?
And when like you said, I'm sorry, I'm going back. But when you saw him struggling. That's when you knew.
Like I wanted to, I wanted to go in there.
It's a circle.
And I just remember, I even recorded, and I could hear myself saying, "Honey, it's okay. Like it's okay."
So I'm sorry. When we get together, we're emotional. I'm sorry.
And so, I don't know, Sochi. This peace came over me because she was so sweet about it, and she reassured me. But I know. She was a great doctor because she had a gift and she's using it.
Right.
Whether or not she...
I love what you said about her too.
Whether or not she acknowledges that it's the Father that gave her that gift and talent, she was the one we were supposed to go to on that day, at that time, in that moment. God had already prepared me for this day because like 2 weeks prior, I had read this paper that a really godly woman had shared with me at a retreat. And it basically said, the part that stuck out to me was, just remember that you are God's child. You are His. And everything that is ever going to happen has already gone through His hands.
Been sifted, right? Know what you
said?
Right.
Through His hands. So that means, God, you have control. I obviously don't have control of anything as much as I think I do or I want to. Again, that hand.
That's right.
But that came back to me when I was sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, my heart is breaking. But I remembered, like it's like your life kind of flashes. Sometimes it's just like, God was setting me up for this moment, and that's why I have peace. Not because I'm not sad, not because I don't feel like I let him down, not because my son has something going on with him. It's just because I know that God is faithful, and he knows all. He's gonna take care of us. He's gonna take care of my son. And so we go into the other room. She tests him. She goes, you know what? It's good. He has depth perception and stuff. Like, you know, that's not totally off. So she goes, listen, if the glasses don't work, I am a specialist in his condition.
Wow.
I do therapy for this.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, God. Like, if this is not you. And like, I know, Sochi, like, I told you that. Like, I know it may not be a big deal to other people, but I wanted to share it with you because it's an everyday miracle in my life.
That's right.
So God does every day. He's in the miracle business. Little things that He does for you. When He teaches you, when He blesses you, when someone comes and says something to you that just like that's an everyday miracle. And that was an everyday miracle for me, Soji, because my tendency is to become fearful and stressed and worried and just be like overwhelmed with information and how can I change it from A to C, you know, just zoom. And I don't know, I just had this peace, and I know it's because the scariest part of letting go control is the fact that you don't have the control, but free falling, but free falling into what? The hand of God. That He is over all, and that is just so freeing. And so I just thank God for that. You know, it was just a blessing.
So when he got his glasses,
he's gonna get them. But he tried them on. Oh my gosh,
he was like excited about it.
That tore me up. I almost started bawling because he was like, he wasn't like, no, I don't want glasses, because my boy is all boy,
very active.
He wants to be the best, the strongest, and he wants to be a boy. So I was thinking, oh gosh, he's gonna be like, no about the glasses. So he puts on the glasses and he's picking, and he's like, mama, he's picking like Ray-Bans. We can't afford any Ray-Bans. He's picking Ray-Bans and Dolce Gabbana, you know, and I'm like,
you're like, go to this aisle.
Like, where's the clearance? Where's the clearance section? Like, they give him those little flexi ones, like really cute ones. He's like, he's like, I like these. He put them on, Sochi, and I have a video like.
Yes.
It was just God whispering, I got this.
That's good. Why did we bring tissues? This is us.
God. This is just God whispering. It's in my hand. So he puts on on the glasses. I know it sounds so ridiculous because we're talking about glasses. But he puts on the glasses. And he goes, yes, these are it.
My goodness.
And he had the biggest smile.
You took
a
picture.
Maybe I'll post it.
Right, yeah, you should on the comments.
Oh my gosh, it just soothed my heart. And I just... Stop laughing. God's love just overwhelms me, Sochi.
It does.
Because that's
it's a perfect
Jesus
love.
just being so sweet to me.
Oh my goodness.
To give me that.
Right.
That blessing of saying he's okay.
Oh my gosh.
And like I had to share it with my husband and I can't say that he was like it's okay, God's got it. He was like like my son. First thing he says, totally like I
you are just throwing it out there.
Listen.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. There goes his dream to being a fighter pilot. I'm thinking, when was our son gonna be a fighter pilot? He's like super short Mexican, like he's never gonna be. But anyways, that's just our humor. Pardon us. Yes. But just like it's like, you know, everybody takes it different. But you know what? The lessons that I learned came back to me. I said, let Ed be upset.
Right, yes.
Let him go through it too. Just like I was. But you know what? One of us can be up and one of us can be down. And right now, I'm all right. And you have your moment.
Wow.
And you'll come around. But when he saw that Matthew was okay, how precious he looked, and that he was excited, he was like, I could see that God is working in our lives. God is working in our family, in our marriage, and there's breakthrough. And if you, I hate to say it like this, but like, do not give up before God breaks through.
That's right.
There's going to be difficulties. There's going to be hard times. There's going to be things blocking you. But if you, my pastor says this, don't give up before the breakthrough.
Right. Because that's when we give up.
That's when
we give up.
It's
so hard.
We can't do it right before you break through. And so don't do it. I don't know. Maybe that's for somebody.
It is. It's for all of us.
It's for me. It's for me. But don't give up.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And you know,
oh my gosh, I can't believe just cried and laughed at the same time.
Crying.
I'm like snorting. Like
but if you don't, like, I just, because it's so precious, this story, because God reveals himself in, like she said, an everyday miracle.
Yeah.
But it's a miracle. It's not
to me.
It's not something, but it's for me too. Like, even though that you know, he's not my son, but I felt that and I was like, thank you, Lord. But something that I want to bring up to you today that was so, like that she said to us that pricked my heart even more was she said, you know, I thank God for that doctor. Because that doctor's got a baby, right?
She does.
A 2-year-old, you said?
She's a little baby. I think she's like 1 or 2.
1 or 2. So she was like, you know what? I'm going to start praying for that doctor. Because that doctor blessed my heart. Because she's got to leave her baby so that she can help my baby. Yeah. Right, yeah. And that's so precious. So not everybody is supposed to be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. Not everybody is supposed to be a homeschool mom.
We need everybody.
We need everybody.
Yes.
And like that verse says, do what you can.
And like what you said last night.
Do what you can.
Do what God has called you to do. Because like, look, don't be what is it in Spanish as no tiene temor? Like, don't be scared. Like, don't let fear. That's something that God's working with too. Fear held me back, and fear paralyzes you.
It
but
does.
Then you can't do good or bad. Nothing. You're stagnant.
Oh
God, I am such a plus. But like you're stagnant. But like, if that doctor would have said, you know what? Maybe I don't want to go back to work. And I'm not saying putting her down. Because people have to go back to work. But if she wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't have that wonderful experience. And that person that said, I found it. I got it. This is what we're going to do. And just bless my life.
You and comforted you.
And reassured me. And so, yes, we are all called. We all have gifts and talents. And when we use them, it just benefits the kingdom of God. And others come to know him because of your light. Amen. Because when you're excellent, it's representative of God. You know,
no matter what you do,
no
matter what you do it unto the Lord. Yes,
you know, changing the garbage cans at church.
That's right.
Or anointing people with oil. But from the anything you do, do it.
Everything is precious to God. Like I don't know who said it, but it was Elizabeth Elliot that said, if I'm ironing my husband's shirt, that's the same worship that I can give as I'm teaching the lesson to these group of women.
It's as important.
Yeah, it's do everything unto the Lord.
It's hard sometimes when you're in the thick of it to remember it that way, but it's our perspective.
Right, it is.
We got to shift our attitudes.
And one thing that, like, as we close, one thing that Kristen shared with me a few years ago is, before Evelyn was born, she said, and I've never heard it, but you know how when someone says it, then you always remember it, and then after that you always hear it.
Yeah. You hear it after.
The days are long, but the years are short. And after I was like, oh my gosh, that was like a breakthrough for me, because being at the stay-at-home mom full time with Jude, and I was like, man, I'm only gonna get this once, and then like now he's in 5th grade.
Can you believe it?
I mean, I just and
it's like a blink of an eye.
It is. It really is. So no matter what you do. Remarkable women, do everything unto the Lord. And remember that the days are long, but the years are short. And that's why we should appreciate every day, appreciate every gift that God has given us. So, Kristen, thank you for sharing your heart. I pray that it will bless so many people. I know it blessed my heart. And
you blessed my heart.
Thank you.
Because following your calling.
Amen. Thank you.
And stepping out.
Amen. Thank you, Kristen.
And being bold. And I admire you for that, because it's not easy.
No, it's not.
And this is why we want to come alongside you, because we believe in you.
Thank you.
And I know God is using this to change lives.
Right. Amen.
And everyday miracles.
You know, it means so much, and I want to say this publicly too. Like, this is a friend that travels 5 hours to come to a remarkable event, and so I just really appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you,
I'm
Eddie.
So glad to be here.
I hope Eddie watches this.
He won't. He's not on social media. He's like,
I know, but you can show.
Like, I'm sure you were great, honey.
Yeah.
But we've known each other a lot.
Right.
I know.
What,
I know.
20
I know
years,
the truth
probably.
that it whispers in my ear. I know.
But I want to again thank you all of my leadership team that have done remarkable interviews.
Yes.
These past
they
8.
were such
blessings. They were. I loved it.
I was so looking forward to each one.
It wasn't good to just hear from Jean and the buddies and Candace and Tennille.
Yep.
I mean, just all of you guys are blessings to me, and I thank the Lord every day for you guys saying yes. I know Tennille said, I never said yes. She was like,
so we never say yes.
Right.
We're kind of like, we did.
Yeah, what happened?
How
did I get this?
Right now, I'm like,
got lots of smiles and
wild. How am I here? What am I doing here? Like, so she's, I'm like, Sochi, I really probably should be leaving by 4. And she's like, yeah, after the interview, whatever. And she didn't acknowledge even 4. She's like, yeah, whatever time the interview's over. But I'll do it for you because I love you.
Kristen, oh my goodness.
I love you.
So this is going to be a...
You're trying to get away from that label, but we have put it on you, girl.
You and Tennille.
Girl boss, girl boss.
But that's a good label. I will embrace it. Do everything unto the Lord.
Yes. Whatever you make people do.
So this has been an emotional, remarkable interview.
Ups and downs.
Ups and downs. But we hope that you have enjoyed this. I know I have enjoyed this with Kristen. And you never know what's going to come up on Remarkable on this Facebook page, because I do. Like, I enjoyed doing these interviews. Awesome. And I already have people on mind that I want to interview. Other people, other women.
So be looking for these. Don't miss them.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And you never know. You might be the next remarkable woman.
Tag your
I know.
And she's not even going to ask you. You're just going to be mailed like a date.
Do you want to have dinner? You have dinner. Let's do an interview.
And suddenly, like, the selfie stick shows up. You're like, wait a minute. I know what this is.
You get myself here.
All these questions.
Let's go ahead and finish.
Put it out there.
We love you all.
Love you.
And thank you all that joined us last night. It was truly
awesome.
a remarkable event. Thank you so much for the leadership team. Thank you for the praise team. Thank you for all your prayers and support. We appreciate you. We want to encourage you this week as you are going the 3rd weekend of September?
Yes.
So that you are remarkable and that you are able to make your mark.
Bye,
Have
guys.
a great weekend. Have a great Sunday. And God bless you.
God bless.
Bye.
Oh
we should do the...